Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary and I'm back here again doing my second video today. Uh, right before this I did the sloth video and now I'm going to be doing this little bunny. He's adorable, cute little bunny, and just in time for the holidays, or if it's not your holiday, you could put him in your garden. He's a cute little garden piece also. Just make sure if you're going to put him in your garden that you seal him. He needs to be sealed in and out. You should, anything you put outside, you should seal inside too. And you do that by getting a Mod Podge. I think Mod Podge is liquid, so anything that's a liquid sealer that you can pour inside of the piece also. Okay, so we're going to start today. You have all your colors, and you have your gray, and I think I gave you blue and pink and white and purple and a bunch of different colors, and you can choose to do your bunny either in the white or in the gray. I think the white would look too much as it looks right now, so it's not too creative. I like to do the gray and then do a little bit of white shading on top of him. So I'm going to base coat the entire bunny in the gray. So I start out with the bottom. Now I'm using a little bigger brush than you have there. If you have other brushes, go right ahead and use them. I just give you a couple of complimentary brushes in case you don't have any, but it's always a good idea to invest in brushes that are a little bit better. All right, and nice and smooth it out. Oh, no ridges in your paint. I don't think I washed this brush too well from the sloth. I just got a little bit of golden color in there, but I'm blending it right in. Okay, so this is going to be my gray bunny. Do you know I have a grand bunny? That's so funny. My son and my daughter-in-law, they have a little bunny, and I call him my grand bunny. Instead of a grandson or granddaughter, I have a grand bunny. His name is Kona, and he is adorable. And I told my daughter-in-law when they first got Kona that he looked like a cow because he's black and white, and she said to me, "He's not a cow." So he's adorable, though. He's really a cute little bunny. And she has a ceramic bunny in the house, and Kona goes and sits next to the ceramic bunny. I guess he thinks it's family. It's so funny. Nice and smooth. If you notice, I don't put a lot of paint in my brush at one time. You do have a big area to spread it, so it's not such a big deal if you put a lot. But just don't put it on like that and then go back and scoop more. You want to spread that as far as it goes, nice and smooth. See, I don't dip for more color until I get that nice and smooth. And if your one coat doesn't cover, you can go back and do a second coat. Some paints are thinner than others. I've been having a little bit of trouble lately getting the colors that I like. Everybody's out of stock on everything, so we have to make do. So if you need a second coat, if the gray is a little thin, just go back and put a second coat on. If you put it on right, you should have plenty of paint just to pull it out. You don't need much. I didn't even fill this well up. It's a half full, and I'm already almost done with the bunny. And there's still plenty of paint in there. Just no white spots. That's my thing. I like to base coat things in one color and put colors over that so that you don't have white spots. When I did the sloth on the previous video, he was a little bit more challenging because I did 3 base coat colors. Okay, so over his ears too. Even though you're going to put pink in his ears, go right over his ears with the gray. So you see now he's dry enough that I can touch him without getting any paint on me. And if you are getting paint on your hands when you touch the bottom, you're putting it on too heavy. Go back with your brush and pull. Pull your color, like I'm doing here. Just pull it. Because there's plenty of color that's building up in your brush. And again, put it where the pink goes because I put the pink over the gray. Now I'm fast. You do not have to be as fast as I am. You can take your time. I don't want you to have to be waiting for me. So I just do it very fast. You can pause the video, do your gray, and then come back and put the video back on and follow along. Okay, well, now go back and double check for white spots. Yep, a little spot there. I want to make sure that I don't have any white spots. And even when I think I've got them all covered, I find more. Up under his ear, there's a little bit here, around his eye. It gives you a much neater look when you have a base coat on everything, and then you work your colors over the top of it. It's a lot easier to do that than to paint each color individually, because then you have to butt colors up against each other, and it's very hard to get perfect lines when you do that. So I've got most of it covered. I'm sure I'll find some other white spots, which I can always go back and touch up. Okay, so he's gray. Now, I'm going to be washing my brush in the water. I swoosh, I don't bang, I swoosh my brush, and make sure that that water is taken out of the brush on a paper towel. You don't go into the next color and pick it up with your brush and dripping on the piece. You don't want that. So every time you wash your brush, you dry it on the paper towel. Okay? Now, I'm going to use the little smaller brush that I have here, and I'm going to do, oh no, let's do the white next. Pick up some white, and I did a little bit of white on his chest, a little bit of white around his paws, around his snout, that's his mouth, around his eyes, so that when I do the eyes, they stand out a little bit better. And then I always tip the ears, the feet. Okay, so I'm going to do that with you now. I can put a drop right in here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of white in my brush. I'm not going to have a lot. I'm going to wipe it out. I don't want a lot of paint in the brush. And I'm going to pounce it on his chest area, just like this. You could do it like in a V form, in a U form, just a little bit of white there. Okay, is that what I did on this one? There's no right or wrong. You can have more or less. No two pieces will ever be the same. I'm going to put a little bit around his snout. You notice I'm just pouncing. And I'll put a little bit, whoop, I just put my fingers in the white. I'll put a little bit around his eye. I call these accent areas. Put a little bit around his ears. I'm accenting the edges of his ears. Okay, see what I did there? Just accent the edges of his ears. And then a little bit around the bottom on his paws. Oh, and we can't forget his tail. What would it be without a white cottontail? So we do the cottontail. And if you pounce it, you get a little bit more color on the piece. Now another thing you could do too is if you have a little white cotton ball, you could put a cotton ball and glue it onto his tail. That would be cute too. Okay, here's my little cottontail. Now on that area I did it a lot heavier than I did it on anything else. And when you dry brush, it's always a good idea to do it a second time. I go back and do everything a second time, and it sharpens the color. Okay. And maybe around his eye a little bit more. Did his snout. His tail is pretty good, so I don't think I need a second coat on his tail. Okay. I have it on the tail, I have it on the chest, around the paws, around his mouth, and on his eyes, untipped on his ears. And take your time. Don't try to work as fast as I do. I'm just trying to show you how to do the piece, but you know, you can take your time. You don't have to be so fast. Okay, so now I'm going to take my smaller brush, and I'm going to use my pink. Okay, so I have, what did I give you? I gave you the light pink, so I'll work out of my cap. I'll take my smaller brush and put a little pink in the brush and just pounce it in your ears. And you're going to need 2 coats of that also. Okay, I just pounce it in the ears so it has a feathered look, and it's not just a painted line. If you paint it, you're going to see a line, so I'm just pouncing up and down like so. And I would do that twice, but right now I'm just doing it once. And then the only other area where the pink is, I'll do it with my smaller brush, and I'm going to paint his nose. her nose. Now the pink is a little thin, so do it once, let it dry, and then go back and do it a second time. That's the only areas that I have the pink. Oh, I know another area I did a little bit of pink. I did a cheek. So I'm going to put a little bit of pink in my brush, take it out, and you see on the cheeks I did like a little cheek. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a second coat in the ears. Look at the second coat, what a difference it makes. That's the second coat, that's the first coat. And when the nose is dry, go back and do a second coat on the nose. This is really a pretty simple piece to do. Now, as far as the designs that I put on the bunny, you can do whatever kind of designs that you like, but I will kind of walk you through what I did. All right, now, as far as the black in the eyes, you can use a marker. But you have to make sure the piece is very, very dry. And then you take an ultra fine point Sharpie and you can do the eyes in the black and you can do the lines in his toes in the black. Okay? And you can also do around his nose and on his mouth like I did there. I don't have black out right now. Maybe I'll just do it with the purple so that you can get the idea of what to do. One color I forgot to bring to the table. Okay, so on his mouth, you have a line coming down from his nose. You have purple also, so you can do this in purple if you want. It doesn't have to be in black. You have a nice pointy brush. See what I did on his mouth? And then you can outline the nose also. Okay, there we go. And then we can do, I'll do a purple pupil. Purple pupil, you like that? But if you want it black, you can use a marker. I think he's cute with a purple eye. You're going to let it dry and we'll put a little highlight in that eye. You also can do a little outlining and a couple of little lashes. Okay, I did that one. Put a little lashes on him. Okay, so I have the two eyes done. And then you can do lines in between his toes on the bottom. Okay, that's what you would do with the black. Or you can just do it with the purple if you want to do it like I did it. I am going to go back and do the nose a second coat though. The nose needs a second coat. Or maybe it's a third, because the pink is very thin. And then with the white, once your eye is dry, you can go back and put a little dot in the eye, and it's like a little highlight that's in our eyes from natural light, and it gives a little bit more life to the piece. Okay, so he has a highlight on both of them. Now, as far as the dots go on the piece, I'll do this one in the blue because I have this one done in the pink. So where's my white? Let me put a little bit more white out here. Now I use the back end of the brush. The handle of the brush makes your dots, okay? Not the hairs, the handle. So I would go around and I would do a couple of white spots. All right, so I'm going to put a white here. I'm going to put a flower there. Don't put them too close to each other, then it looks messy. Put one there, put one there. I'll start out with those three. And then I'm going to do my flower around that. Now what I do is I do 2 dots above the white dot. See that? 2 dots? I always call them my eyes. 2 little eyes. and then one dot below the white dot. And then there's just enough space on either side of that white dot to fill in the other two dots, because it's a 5-dot flower. If you go around in a circle, you never really get it perfect. So I always do the one dot in the center, two little dots above it, one dot below it, two eyes and a mouth, I call them. And then I have enough space on either side of that white dot to make a round flower. That kind of gives you a pretty perfect circle. All right? So again, you have your white dot down, you do two blue dots pretty close together and close to the white. And then you do another dot below it, and then on either side of it. There's just that right amount of space, and that's how you do your flowers going around. Okay, so I'm going to do one more, and then you get the idea. Two dots above the white and one below it, right there. And see how close I have them? I have them very close. They're not touching, but they're very close. Because if you put them too far apart, it just doesn't look right. All right, and then one dot on either side. There's just enough space on either side when you do it that way. Now the other thing you can do is you can take, let's see, we could take the pink or we could take the purple. And I didn't do it on this bunny, but you can do it on your bunny. When all of that is dry, now the one thing with dots is if you touch them, they're going to smear immediately. So be very careful and take your time and let them dry. If you have to do 3 at a time, put it aside and let it dry, and then go back to it, that's good. So then when it's dry, now I didn't do it on this guy, but when it's dry, you can go back and in between, you can do another color dot, like so. Okay? Now just make sure they're not too close together. I'm going to do another. So now I'll bring another one down here. So I'm almost doing them like a triangle. I do 2 and then 1 in between it. I'll do 2 and then I do 1 in between it there. So now I'll go back to my blue again and do 2 dots. Am I running out of blue here? 2 dots above the white and 1 dot below it, and then 1 dot on either side of it. 2 blue dots. And you have 2 brushes that have 2 different size handles, so you could figure out which one you want to use. Okay, and then I would do another purple dot here and another purple dot down here, so then you follow that around. Okay, and that looks adorable. So now we have 2 bunnies. My bunny's a little darker gray. I'm not sure which gray I gave you. You might have the lighter or the darker. There's all different grays here. And this bunny was done a long time ago also. So, like I said, no 2 animals are the same colors, no 2 humans are the same colors. So there's no right or wrong in any of this. And the marker is great, the magic marker. But if you're going to seal it, I would seal it first and then use the marker because it might smear. But there you have the bunny. And like I said, he can go in your garden. Just make sure you seal him to put him outside. Ceramics should not be left out below 32 degrees. You should bring it in every year and then reseal it and put it outside again. Okay, and that's our little bunny. So thank you all very much for taking this class, and I hope to see you again soon. And have happy holidays.